On October 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Vision TV will present the world premiere of a new documentary from filmmaker Martin Himel named Forgotten Expulsion: Jews from Arab Lands. The film sheds light on a largely overlooked chapter of history, the displacement of 850,000 Jews from Arab countries following the establishment of the State of Israel. With tensions flaring in the Middle East, the film challenges the narrative of Israel as a colonial state and highlights the centuries-old Jewish presence in the region. I want to welcome filmmaker Martin Himel here with me in studio today.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Martin. Martin, I'd like to start with asking you what motivated you to create this documentary?
Well, the fact that a chunk of Middle East history of the Arab-Israeli conflict has been ignored. Everybody knows that Palestinians are refugees, were refugees. Everybody has heard of the Palestinian refugee problem, but very few people realize that an equal number, actually more than an equal number of Jewish refugees were also displaced by this conflict. About 700,000 Palestinian refugees were displaced or ran away, depending on how you want to look at it and the situation. And 850,000 Jews were forced to leave their homes in Arab countries throughout the Middle East, from Iraq, Syria, Libya, Algeria. They emigrated, but were coaxed to emigrate from Morocco. So all this big mass of people has been completely ignored. And in many conflicts, we see populations that get displaced. In the Pakistan-India conflict, for example, millions of Muslims were displaced from India. And in Pakistan, millions of Hindus were displaced, and the populations migrated to wherever they went, and the problem was solved. But here it's never solved.
So that brings me to my next question. Why do you believe this piece of history has been largely overlooked?
Because it's inconvenient for the people who are always advocating an anti-Israeli perspective or an anti-Semitic perspective. I think it's more anti-Semitic than anything else. Anything that will justify a Jewish presence in the Middle East is expunged, moved out, and taken away. So they follow a false narrative that it was just European Jews came here and that they were just Europeans who looked for a place to come to, which is completely false, because Jews have been indigenous to this part of the world for 3,500 years.
So now, after the October 7th attacks, we saw an incredible surge in pro-Palestinian and anti-Semitic protests. We saw it everywhere around the world, certainly in the United States, all chanting a very, very specific narrative, one that doesn't include this historical narrative presented in your film. And why do you think that is?
Well, it's a classic anti-Semitic response. Basically, when they say Zionists out of Palestine, they're saying Jews out of Israel. And the whole pretense that what's in the world today, what's very much in vogue, is colonialism, meaning anti-colonialism. Anything that had a colonialist bent is evil. So, for instance, Canada, there's great anger over the fact that white people came in and took indigenous lands. In America, white people took indigenous lands. In Australia, white people came in and took indigenous lands. No one's asking to destroy Canada, the United States, or Australia and expel them. Only one country they asked to expel what they see as white colonialists, which are European Jews who came to the land of Israel. But what they're ignoring is that they didn't just come to the land of Israel. They've been indigenous to that region for 3,500 years. Jews have lived in you just got to read the Bible. Jews have lived in the land of Israel for 3,500 years. They've lived in major Middle East countries consistently until 1948. So if you take away the indigeneity of the situation, you disrupt their argument. And that they don't want to do. So it's convenient to label Jews as just white colonialists.
Just briefly, do you have a personal connection to the stories in this film?
I got a personal emotional connection, if you want to put it that way. I mean, I interviewed many people who had very intricate and interesting lives in Egypt and Iraq. We have a character, for example, who actually went back to Iraq because he got acquainted with the new government after Saddam Hussein and tried to salvage Jewish artifacts, tried to rebuild ancient tombs of prophets, tried to rebuild synagogues. And so this passion to try to salvage this Judaica and to preserve what's left, it was very moving.
Martin Himel, thank you very much. Very important film.
Thank you.